Welcome to Amy's Table. There's something transformative about a woman who owns her style. Not just what she wears, but how she shows up in her life. My guest today is Nora Fink, a stylist known for helping women reconnect with their confidence through color, intention, and a deeply personal approach to style. In this conversation, we're talking about how style evolves alongside who we are, why so many women struggle to see themselves clearly, and how something as simple as the right color can completely shift how you feel and how you're perceived. We'll explore the connection between style and identity and the small changes that can make a big impact, and how creating beauty in what we wear and how we gather can shape a more meaningful life. If you've ever stood in front of your closet and felt disconnected from what you see, this conversation is for you. This is Amy's Table. Pull up a seat. Open my closet and there's a lot in there, but I'm often that woman who's like, what do I wear? And like, I look at what you're wearing right now. Oh my God. I want, when they talk about like the capsule wardrobe, I don't know your thoughts on that, but I want a series of pieces that all go together, that are all comfortable, age appropriate, look pretty. I don't even know where to begin. And that's what you help people with.
Exactly. So my one quote unquote criticism of the capsule wardrobe is just most of my clients and most people in Cincinnati that I work with, their life is too varied to have a capsule wardrobe. They do different things throughout the day. They travel to different climates. So there's just such variation in their life that it's hard to have a very, very narrow capsule wardrobe. However, what I do oftentimes with clients is when I'm doing their home visit with their styling appointment, is I make a capsule wardrobe within their wardrobe. So we'll make outfits just for spring. And so either we move their clothing to a different part of the closet that's not in our little capsule wardrobe, or we put it in big Rubbermaid bins and take a break from it. But I do just a capsule within their existing wardrobe versus this is all you wear, because it's really just not realistic for where we live.
Right. But it's that fewer, better things, and that idea for, I had a guest on my show many years ago, Amy Goodman. Does that name ring a bell? Yes. She said, when you try something on, ask yourself, where are you going in that? Like, make sure what you're buying actually makes sense with your life. I think back to all my Gloria Vanderbilt jeans. I also used to buy a lot of evening wear, even though I only had galas, maybe 5 times a year. That was the importance in now, where am I going in that? You know what I mean? That ball gown didn't help me much for a Saturday grocery shop or whatever. But so how do we become more discerning? And what do you think everybody needs to have?
Well, let me address your ball gowns. I do think like you and I have done several events together now. Like an ethos that I live with is life should be fun. If it is going to bring you a lot of joy to buy an evening gown, buy it. Like life should not be so practical and pragmatic all the time. If there is something that brings you joy, get it. I mean, getting 20 may become problematic. Get like the ball. I take several approaches to this. The most general approach is when I have a styling client, the process works is first we connect on the phone. Why did you call? What can I help you with? What are your goals? The next step is we do their home visit and go through their whole closet together. Go through everything and kind of look for what are the holes that are keeping them from either wearing the totality of their clothes, or B, feeling good in them. It generally comes down to 2 things. One, people are either missing the really good basics, black pants, a nice pair of high-waisted jeans, a skirt, or they're missing the really punchy completer pieces that pull it all together. So that's kind of where I start. And then I don't like to get rid of a lot unless it's truly just a problematic amount of clothes, because things can be reinvented with tailoring. You can just kind of, if you have room, take a break from them and reinvent them. The other thing is, if it's not a very delicate garment, it's a sunk cost. You've already bought it. Let's just wear it. So instead of wearing a free t-shirt from like a 5K, I'm like, put this blouse on. You already own it. Let's just wear it.
Right. Good point.
And that's like just changing the framing and shifting your mind about your own clothing.
Right. Don't save it for that special day.
Don't save it.
I think years ago I switched from my regular flat wear to my silver, and I only use my silver because it's like, what am I waiting? Why am I saving this just for dinner parties and holidays? So it's the same sort of thing. You've already got it. Use it.
And really, there are so many clothes out in the world right now. Unless it's a very high-end designer piece, there really is very little resale value. So the best use of it, rather than donating it, is wearing it.
Right. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Well, one of the things that you are into, and it makes so much sense, is color. Yes. And I know when we first met, I remember we were having lunch. I go, I just love wearing off-white. And I still don't know I didn't know how to read you. You went, like, maybe that's not your color. But no, I do love to wear off-white. But so how do it starts with our coloring and where do we begin with? Because color is a powerful thing.
Yeah. So this is one of the things I know people can be very critical of social media, but quote unquote seasonal color analysis has made a very big resurgence on social media. I like it because it's fun and it really guides people, especially if you shop a lot online and you're faced with so many choices, to filter them into colors you know will look good on you. The origin of seasonal color analysis, as it's now called, was in the 80s, called Color Me Beautiful.
I remember.
And people would get their colors done and their makeup done. And it was very, very big back then. So the rebrand is seasonal color analysis. And what that means is that there are 4 seasons. Same with winter, spring, summer, autumn, or fall. And everyone is going to be one of those seasons. Your first, where you start determining what season you are is with your skin undertone. And there is going to be people with warm undertones, cool undertones, or neutral. If you're warm, you are going to have golden undertones to your skin.
I'm going to interrupt you. I don't see the undertones of my skin. I don't understand how to see it. So this is why we come to somebody like you. But you did tell me I'm a warm.
You're warm, yeah.
And you're a warm.
Yep.
Okay.
And so whomever is doing your hair knows you're a warm because you've got golden blonde highlights. Your earrings, you're picking yellow gold. A lot of times it's more instinctive than you know. Warms are going to gravitate towards gold, yellow golds, rose golds. Cools, which are the winter and the summer, are going to gravitate towards silver, platinum, and all colors with almost like a dash of gray in them. Interestingly, a winter skin tone is going to be like the true Snow White, like a very, very pale skin and typically contrasted dark hair and lips, where the summer is also cool, but they will have much more muted contrast between their skin tone and their hair. So they're more opposite, summer and winter, versus autumns and springs are a little bit more similar.
So you and I are both warm.
Yes.
What season are we?
I am a spring. You are interesting. And this is you'll see here on this little chart right here, the spring and the autumn are not that far apart. It's just that the autumns have a dash of red or brown to the colors.
I see in the autumn selections that I am drawn to those. And I wonder if that makes me an autumn.
Great point. And also, after 50, people can change, especially if they've let their hair go gray or if they've kind of chosen a new hair color. So spring and autumn can kind of vacillate a little bit more easily than this summer and winter. If you're a winter, you're typically always a winter. If you're a summer, you're always a summer. For people who are summer, think of very fair-skinned, fair eyes, fair hair. They look great in pastels or light periwinkles or a little mint. And a summer always just really looks good in those colors. I would say you would lean more towards an autumn, but you could definitely do spring colors as well.
Yeah. But it is so interesting. Just looking at those, I feel pulled to them.
And this is a perfect segue to what I really believe and why my styling business has been so successful for so many years, because what I believe in, as much as I love clothes, I love having people feel good more. So let's say you are spring, but you want autumn. That is what's
Go
right.
for it. Right.
Go for it.
Right.
It's same thing. I'm very into wine. The best wine is the wine you like, with the temperature and who you're drinking it with.
Right. If you want it with cubes in it, go for it.
Go for it.
Even though
Yes.
it might make you cringe a little bit. Hey, so let's talk about wine
Yeah.
for a second. And I want to, this is something I think about when I think about you. So you like fashion, you like style, and I feel like you bring an element of that into your lifestyle beyond your wardrobe. And I want you to talk a bit about this passion project that you've done, because I love anybody that does a passion project, but this one is really unique.
Well, thank you.
Talk a bit about how you bring your sense of style to this project.
I would be happy to. So I am very into wine. And during COVID, I was drinking a lot of wine by myself, a lot of fancy wine. And I realized that that experience said, yes, I really love wine, but what I love more is drinking wine with other people and the experiences that I have with people who are into wine and food, and just enjoying food and wine's ability to bring people together.
Right.
And that's what I really like. So at the same time, my husband and I were taught watching The Crown, and I was very pouty. And I was like, I want to be in a club like Prince Philip's Lunch Club. And he's like, well, why don't you join one? And I was like, well, there aren't any. And he's like, well, why don't you make one? And then ta-da, the rest is history. And to your point, I would not, like, if I was self-assessing myself, I'm like, I'm not a person who does everything with intention. Like, I would not say that, but I think I just have a vision for how I want it to go. But there's a lot of wiggle room. And so I needed a clubhouse, and then the building I have for the clubhouse to me felt like a closed jewelry box. So I'm like, well, let's make it feel like we're in a closed jewelry box. And then I took the colorways from the stained glass, and then I found a jeweled wallpaper that's printed on Mylar. So you really feel like you are in a closed jewelry box.
It's a special spot.
Well, thank you. It feels happy.
Mm-hmm.
And then with my home, we have a very normal sized 1920s Spanish colonial. And when we bought it, I came up with my own personal tagline, which was resort living every day. And so over 20 years, I've made it my mini hotel. And everybody who walks in is like, this house is like a mini hotel. Because I'm like, I just want to live like, I don't want a vacation home. I want my house to be like a vacation
Live a life
house.
you don't need to escape from.
Exactly.
You know what, Nora? One of my favorite sayings is, how you do anything is how you do everything.
That
And
is how I
think
feel.
that's it. You bring style and elegance and taste to everything you do. You mentioned at one event or another that you felt like you really should be best friends. I think you said with old French guys.
Yeah. I mean, that is like, it is so funny that you bring up, those are my favorite people in the whole world. Like, I gravitate towards everything they do, like how exacting they are, but not pretentious. How there's like a slight disdain for hurrying. Like, that is what I enjoy. I really, really like that. And to your point also about bringing style to things you do, I'm not doing it for anybody. I'm doing it for everybody. I want these
beautiful
parties I host. I want people who come to our house. It is there to be enjoyed. It is not for show. It's not for social media. This is for anyone I interact with. And I have to say, it is a very fun way to live. I'm incidentally at my house, both the messiest and the cleanest person. At the wine club, I break the most glasses, and because it's like we're living, like we're enjoying these things. And so I want them to be beautiful and elegant and fancy, but they're meant to be enjoyed and there's no ulterior motive.
And then not so precious that they can't be broken.
Exactly.
Not so precious that they can't be worn.
Not so precious that we can't drink it. Like, let's do it. And I also,
God, you're just inspiring the heck out of me. I love this. So let me ask you this. So how can somebody, what would you say to somebody who said, I want to make my home be my resort? You know, what are a few little touches you would do? Or your wardrobe, your dream wardrobe?
I would say philosophically, you have to cultivate an attitude of abundance. Like, if you don't have an attitude of abundance, none of the things I tell you will feel natural or bring you any joy. They just won't. And I wake up and this will sound corny. I mean, I feel effervescent. I feel like carbonated. Like, I'm just excited for the day and I'm excited to share things. And I have a rule that I don't drink wine alone, that I always drink with friends. And I get a lot of joy out of that. It also helps that I married someone who is wired like me. He's very generous. He gets a lot of joy out of doing things and sharing things and living free. And so if you have an attitude of abundance, whatever it is that you're into or another person's into, you're going to feel the way I feel. And that's what I think we need to live full lives.
I couldn't agree more. It's so funny. This very morning, I woke up with this mindset of, what if I chose, there's a lot of chaos going on in the world, to disregard it all and to recognize that I have a really lovely life. And I, as one human walking the planet, am infinitely free and should be infinitely worry-free and should spend my days basically embracing all of the abundance that I have. I kid you not, this is how I woke up this morning. I won't say I was necessarily effervescing, but I will tell you that a lot of mornings I wake up and have that same sort of feeling of, because I've created a bed that is a haven, I've created a morning ritual that is a haven, and there's so much of my life. I'm sure I would love to steal all of your great ideas because I like this idea of my home being a resort. But life is whatever your attitude is, right?
Yes,
and
that's
even
what I
the
believe.
fashion, the women that can walk around rocking some muddy old boots and a t-shirt, it's attitude.
It's attitude.
Yeah.
I think it's attitude, and I think it is just feeling, and joyful doesn't need to be a very extroverted joyful.
Right.
It can just be, what does that feel like to you?
Contentment.
Like contentment. It could be. I'm definitely the far end of the extroverted spectrum, like very, very tip. But you can be like this and not be extroverted. You can just love your home or your things, or taking a walk, or baking for other people, or baking for yourself. It does whatever brings you joy. And I think one other reason why I'm happy all the time is because I do read a lot of history, and we've always had problems. And
Right.
I always say it's just today's version of an old problem. And, when you hear stories throughout history of people making a difference, it was usually a person choosing to have a different attitude, or help in a different way, or being abundant, is being gracious. And so I agree with your new philosophy.
I just adore you.
Well, thank you. That's probably why we hit it off so well.
I know. I'll tell you, if you're as inspired as I am, you've got to check out more about Nora. Where can we find information about you and about, I hope I say it correctly, Atelier Divin?
Yes. So first of all, for my styling business, it's just norafink.com. I have been in Old Montgomery for, I've lost track, but I think about 9 years, and I really, really love it. And then in terms of the wine club, at advwineclub.com. And then our wine club is somewhat at capacity. So my club assistant and I have created a new concept, which is just a private social group that we're building right now, where on the first and third Thursdays of the month, we just pick a bar and people go out. And the only goal is to get people to go patronize our local establishments, because we want to live in a city that has these things.
We do.
We have to patronize them. And just to know you're going to go out and there's going to be a group of people to meet.
And you never know what
You never
happens. I love it. I love it so much. Nora, thank you
Well,
for
thank
joining
you.
us.
And it's been a joy to meet and connect and share ideas and bring people together, because that's what everything I do, that is what I would like to do, is just bring people together.
Me too. Me too. That's why there's a bee on my book and a bee on my drinkware line. Is it's like I like to connect like a bee, pollinate people, if you will. Well, I've got to tell you, I hope you were as inspired as I am. And you can find more about Nora at norafink.com. And as always, thanks for joining us. And don't forget, there's always a seat for you at Amy's table.